Hello everyone, welcome to the Level Kino channel. The year 2025 was almost a tragedy for cinema. Sequels, flops, and a minimum of originality. The question is, will 2026 save the day, or will Hollywood fall even deeper? Let's take a look together. Number 1. Oddysey. July 17th. After the Trojan War, Odysseus returns home and encounters mythical monsters such as the Cyclops and the Siren along the way. Directed by Christopher Nolan and starring Tom Holland, Matt Damon, and Anne Hathaway. 3 years after Oppenheimer, we are finally getting a new film from Christopher Nolan, one of Hollywood's best directors. It adapts Homer's classic The Odyssey and features a huge cast of great actors. It all looks great, doesn't it? Well, I have my reservations about what we've seen so far. If you've been following the discussion about the film on the internet, you probably know what I'm talking about. The first problem, the cast. I'm sure you're thinking, wait, you just said they're all great. And they are. They're big names. But big names don't automatically mean good performances. Especially when they're cast in roles that don't suit them at all. The best example of this is Zendaya in the role of Athena. Let's take a look at the description of Athena. Goddess of wisdom, whose appearance inspires respect, admiration, and awe. She is beautiful, slim, and well built. I don't know about you, but Zendaya embodies the exact opposite of everything I just listed. Even in Dune 2, the sight of her face with that stupid expression annoyed me. So how the hell could they cast her in such a role? Well, the second thing that's been talked about a lot is the costumes. The first item on the list is pants. I'm no historian, but even I know that pants didn't exist in ancient Greece. You could say that it's a fantasy film, so the creators can do whatever they want and change the costumes however they like, without having to be historically accurate. Okay, I agree, it doesn't have to be historically accurate, but it still looks incredibly stupid. The sight of Tom Holland wearing pants in ancient Greece looks terribly ridiculous, which I think is a misstep. And then there's the armor. Oh, the armor. Again, historically inaccurate, but I don't mind that so much. Troy is one of my favorite movies, and the armor in it doesn't correspond to the period either. But at least it looks real. When we look at the armor in Odyssey, we see that it's just cheap plastic. This movie has a budget of X million dollars, and they can't even be bothered to pay for realistic looking armor. Over Christmas, I watched some fairy tales and found it very funny that in one of them, the armor looks much more realistic than in a Hollywood blockbuster that is 100 times more expensive. Well, not to be all negative, there's still a chance it will be a good movie. Despite all these bad signs, it's still Nolan, who has some of the best films of recent times to his credit. Some would even say ever. So I'm not saying it's a 100% going to be a terrible movie. It might very well be a really good movie. We'll just have to wait until July and then we'll see. Number 2, Avengers, Doomsday. December 18th. After 7 long years, the Avengers are back. Their experienced directors, the Russo brothers, are returning, along with stars such as Chris Evans, Captain America, Chris Hemsworth, Thor, and the original X-Men. Will Marvel's good reputation return with them? Not much is known about this film yet, as Marvel is trying to keep everything under wraps. In any case, what we do know doesn't sound very optimistic. First, Marvel was forced to pay a lot of money to the original stars to get them to return, even though Endgame was supposed to be their farewell. The reason? Simply put, Marvel. They totally failed to handle the next phase after Endgame, introducing a million series and a million new characters that were all connected to each other, and when the new movie came out, viewers were expected to have watched all of this, hours and hours of seasons on Disney+, and then know what the movies were about. The problem? All of these series, with a few exceptions, were worthless, so no one watched them. This led to a lack of interest in the new films, which was reinforced by the fact that these new films featured heroes who simply couldn't measure up to the legends like Iron Man, Hulk, etc. And, like the series, weren't very good. So Marvel panicked, brought back the old actors, and in this movie, they're doing a soft reset of the entire universe, probably explained by some merging of different timelines. Okay, that's one way to save the MCU, but the problem is that the reports have leaked about how the script keeps changing and being rewritten even though the film itself is already in production and being shot. This can't end well. It's necessary to have a certain vision for the film and stick to it, not panic and change everything according to whatever someone happens to come up with. We'll see if this can be saved, because so far it looks like a first-class production disaster. Well, we'll see. December 18th is still a long way off, so maybe everything will work out and we'll get another epic spectacle for Marvel, which we have not gotten in a while. Number 3. Peaky Blinders, The Immortal Man, March 20th. During World War II, Tommy Shelby returns to Birmingham and takes part in secret war missions. Cillian Murphy returns and is joined by newcomers to this world, such as Rebecca Ferguson, and the whole thing is directed by Tom Harper, who also worked on the series. Unfortunately, I haven't seen Peaky Blinders, so I can't say much about it, except that it looks pretty good. I know the series has a lot of fans, and although it's certainly not perfect, according to some reviews I've read, it will probably be a nice ending to the many seasons of this saga. We won't have to wait long to find out, as March 20th is just around the corner. Number 4. Disclosure Day, June 12th. If you found out that we are not alone, if someone showed you, prove it to you, would it scare you? Steven Spielberg and movies about aliens. Name a more iconic duo. He's back with a movie that is rumored to reveal the truth to us in the form of entertainment. According to reports, Steven Spielberg is deeply invested in the subject of UFOs and will bring us completely new information about it in this movie. This could be more than just a new movie, but new, never before released information about this phenomenon. The trailer itself has a gloomy atmosphere and looks very esoteric. UFO enthusiasts, just wait another 6 months and you'll finally find out the truth about Little Green Men. Number 5. Spider-Man, Brand New Day, July 31st. Spider-Man is trying to focus on college, but when a new danger arises, he must return to action and save his friends. What can I say about this new Spider-Man? Honestly, I don't have much to add. I was a fan of the very first movies, but I don't mind these new ones with Tom Holland. I actually think they're pretty good. The story sounds pretty generic. The only thing that interests me about this movie is that it will be directed by the same director as Shang-Chi and The Legend of Ten Rings, which was quite a flop. Let's hope that he does better with this film and brightens up our summer season. Number 6. Dune, Part 3, December 18th. Paul becomes the ruler of Dune, fulfilling a centuries-long plan to create the ultimate leader. Will he succeed in fulfilling the prophecy? The first 2 Dune films were successful and very good, but I was still quite disappointed with them. I've read the books and I know that this series has the potential to rival The Lord of the Rings in terms of epicness, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Based on the book, I know that the third film will be quite different. While the previous ones were action-adventure stories, this one will be more of a political drama. We'll see how Denis Villeneuve copes with the change in genre and whether I like this film again. Number 7, 28 Days Later, The Temple of Bones, January 15. Unlike most people, I liked 28 Years Later. Yes, it was quite different from 28 Days Later, but in my opinion, the changes were for the better. An interesting new world of zombies and survivors who were swept away by the apocalypse and changed for the worse. So I'm optimistic about the new installment, which is coming out on January 15th. I'm just a little concerned about the choice of director. The previous film was directed by Danny Boyle, just like the first one, but this one will be directed by Nia Da Costa, who directed hits such as The Marvels, Candyman. The screenplay was written by Alex Garland, who I'm a fan of. So let's hope it doesn't get too messed up. Number 8, Street Fighter, October 16th. Street Fighters Ryu and Ken meet up again when Chun-Li hires them for the new World Warrior tournament. Facing a hidden conspiracy, they must confront each other and their past, or face destruction. I'm not a fan of Street Fighter or fighting games in general, so I can't say much about this movie, except that it stars UFC fighter Alex Volkanovski, one of the best UFC fighters of all time, which is what caught my attention. According to fans, the trailer looks good, but I'll let you be the judge of that. Number 9. Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping, November 19th. A prequel to the first Hunger Games, set 24 years before the first film. The director and screenwriters of the original films are returning, so we can expect a return to the good old days. An okay action movie that probably won't shake the world with anything new. Number 10. SuperGirl, June 25th. A year after Superman comes SuperGirl, but this time with the difference that James Gunn is not directing. Still, when you watch the trailer, his influence on the film is quite noticeable. So even though he won't directly be credited on the film, it's clear that he had a lot to do with it.
Okay, this does not look like this is gonna end well for you guys.
So if you liked his Superman, you'll probably like SuperGirl too. If not, you should probably skip this one. Number 11. Project Hail Mary. March 19th. A science teacher with amnesia wakes up in a spaceship and discovers that he must save humanity from a cosmic catastrophe. Fortunately, he is not alone and has an alien companion. How could I not mention a film in which there's literally me? Or rather, Ryan Gosling. This project sounds very interesting, and as a sci-fi fan, I think there's never good enough science fiction. The directing duo is unconventional and has previously directed comedies, so let's see if the change of genre pays off for them. Number 12. Narnia, November 2026. We don't know much about this remake yet, only that it will be released around November 2026 and that it will be directed by Greta Gerwig, who was last seen behind Barbie. It's quite an interesting choice for an adaptation of a book with Christian themes, and I'm afraid it will be an adaptation for the so-called modern audiences, rather than something that respects the original book. Number 13. Star Wars, Mandalorian and Grogu, May 21st. What's left of Star Wars? They completely wasted the new trilogy, and the subsequent series weren't worth much, except for Andor, whose story is over, so Disney can't squeeze any more money out of it. The only other series that was okay was The Mandalorian, so why not just make it into the movie and squeeze as much as possible out of it? Unfortunately, that's how I see the movie, just an attempt to rake in some cash from the Star Wars universe, which is otherwise in a pretty sorry state. Number 14. Werewolf. One of my favorite current directors, Robert Eggers, follows Nosferatu with another monster, this time a werewolf. Not much is known about this film yet, except that it will be set in medieval England and will star William Dafoe, with whom Eggers has already worked on and gets along very well. So I think we're in for another hit from one of today's most original filmmakers. Number 15. Toy Story, June 18th. The fifth installment of Pixar's popular film saga, this time on the theme of modern technology. Pixar has shown that it's mostly good at film sequels. For example, The Incredibles 2, Finding Dory, and the prequel of Monsters. So it could work again here. I'm just a little worried that the story will be too influenced by current trends and that it will lose some of the good old lessons that are usually embedded in these films. Number 16. Resident Evil, September 18th. Given the history of Resident Evil films, I wouldn't be too optimistic about another adaptation. But here, Zach Cregger, director of The Barbarian and Weapons, both excellent horror films, is at the helm. Filmed partly in Prague, I think this will bring the film luck and break the curse of failure that has plagued the Resident Evil films. Number 17. Scary Movie 6, June 11th. After more than 10 years, Scary Movie is back. How will they fare in the new era? Parodies have definitely gone out of fashion, and comedies these days have to be toned down so as not to offend anyone in the fragile political climate. But that is starting to change a little in America with Trump's re-election to the White House. Will the sixth installment capture the magic of the original films and give us something that is actually funny for the first time in a long time? Number 18. Mercy, January 23rd. In the near future, a detective, Chris Pratt, stands trial accused of murdering his wife. He has 90 minutes to prove his innocence to the advanced artificial intelligence, Rebecca Ferguson. He wants supported before it decides his fate. I haven't heard much about this movie yet, but the concept sounds very interesting. Chris Pratt knows how to choose good roles, and Rebecca Ferguson is one of my favorite actresses right now. Their combination in this project could turn out very well. Okay, there you have it, 18 movies that I found most interesting among those coming out in 2026. Did you like the list or did I forget anything? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.